Hi friends, and welcome back to another video. Today we are talking all about the first trimester of pregnancy and more specifically my experience with the first trimester of this current pregnancy. I am pregnant right now. I'm sure you know by now unless you haven't seen a video of mine before, in which case, hi, I'm Anna. And yeah, like I said, we're gonna go over all the stuff that I have been going through in the first trimester, a little bit of a health scare that I unfortunately had, and then all of the symptoms and all of that fun stuff. So keep on watching. Now in the first trimester, most of us don't look pregnant yet, we are not feeling kicks yet, and a lot of women are choosing not to announce their pregnancy or share the news of their pregnancy until after the first trimester. So the first trimester can be quite lonely and nerve-wracking for a lot of different things, but even though there is not a whole lot happening on the outside, the first trimester is when the most happens on the inside, and that is with baby development as well as hormonal changes for mom. When it comes to baby development, baby goes all the way from a tiny little zygote, which is basically just a single fertilized egg, all the way to a peach-sized little growing human that already has limbs and even like fingers and toes and working systems within its body, which is super mind-blowing. Some of the other most exciting developments that happen during those first 13 weeks, the very first things that develop are the heart and the brain, but then during those first weeks you are also getting development of baby's nails and hair, as well as their sense of taste, their sense of touch, and their sight. Babies also in the first trimester begin to develop vocal cords, which of course they won't use for a while, but it's pretty crazy that a little tiny baby that small can already be so complete. And that is what I mean by so much going on developmentally for the baby. And that is also why our symptoms are so intense in the first trimester, because our hormones are working on overdrive and our body is doing so much to create these humans and to grow these humans. And that is a big change in our body, even though it's not really noticeable on the outside, and a lot of us are just suffering silently through a lot of these symptoms. So I want to tell you guys a little bit about my experience with this pregnancy and my symptoms that I have had. I also want to tell you guys a little bit of a health scare that I had, but I will go up into that a little bit later. Also, I realized that I have not posted on social media or here on YouTube a picture or a little video of my belly yet, so today at the end of the video, stick around to see. I am going to be showing you my little growing belly. Now I would say the most dominant or worst symptoms that I have been experiencing, I hesitate to say worst because I don't want to sound like I'm complaining. I'm so thankful to be pregnant, but I want to be real with you and tell you what symptoms I really have been having. And if you're going through this, know that you're not alone, because pregnancy is tough and can be really hard and can be painful, and it's not easy. But I don't want to sound like I'm complaining either. Anyways, so some of the most intense symptoms that I have been having has, I would say probably the worst or the most intense has been my nausea. That has been constant 24 hours a day. Except if I'm actually like dead asleep, then I'm not nauseous. But other than that, I am nauseous from the time that I wake up all the way until I go to sleep. If I have to get up to pee in the middle of the night, by the time I make it back to my bed, I'm already super nauseous. It's been really tough, on top of raising 2 toddlers, and then on top of being really exhausted from pregnancy. Exhaustion has been another one that has been very intense in the first trimester. I've also had really bad food aversions to everything. That probably has been one of the toughest things, if not the toughest. I mean, nausea, that goes hand in hand, but the food aversions, it's just, if nothing sounds good and if nothing tastes good, then you don't ever get like even like a second of relief. I would say with my other pregnancies, even when I was nauseous, like I could eat something or I would have like a craving and like for a second I would feel good and then I would get nauseous again later. But with this one, I haven't had like any relief from the nausea because all food just tastes bad and looks bad, which was really unfortunate because I usually love food, but the food aversions have been definitely really intense. I've also been experiencing headaches, and as I mentioned, all of this hand in hand with the nausea and the food aversions, my sense of smell has been so intense. All the smells are bad, even the good smells are bad. Everything is just so intense, which makes the nausea worse and the food aversions worse because everything smells bad, even the food, and so that's a whole thing. I've also been experiencing pretty intense round ligament pain, which I think probably has been worse in this pregnancy because I've just gotten bigger in this pregnancy quicker, and so everything is just stretching quicker. And then also hip pain and my sciatic pain has been very intense. Other symptoms that I have experienced during the first trimester have been dizziness. My skin has been a little bit more clear when it comes to my acne. I have been out of breath, pretty emotional with almost everything. I've had cramps here and there. My crazy dreams have been super intense. That's something I've experienced with all my pregnancies. Thirst, like I mentioned before, thirst has been like so intense, but also being nauseous has been really hard because even like taking a sip of water makes me nauseous. So I've just been having to take like little sips more often rather than like chugging water, which usually, you know, that feels so good when you're thirsty. But you can't do that when, you know, even like a sip of water makes you nauseous. So that's tough. Also, my nipples have been really sensitive. Loss of appetite I have had on and off. I think that just is, you know, included with the food aversions. And then also the feeling of burping and feeling like a lot of gas at the top of my stomach. And unfortunately, constipation. Alarm! On week 8 of my pregnancy, I had my very first ultrasound, and that was both amazing and really scary, and I'll tell you guys why that is. It was amazing, obviously, because there was a heartbeat. It was a perfect heartbeat, beating at 156 beats per minute, and baby was measuring correctly, which was really relieving. The last time that I had an ultrasound before was when I found out that I had miscarried, and that my baby no longer had a heartbeat, my last baby. So I was going into it already very nervous, and seeing a heartbeat and knowing that the baby was measuring correctly was so relieving and so good. But it was also really scary because they found what is called a subchorionic hematoma, which is basically a pocket of blood that I don't know if it like forms or it's like kind of stuck in between where the placenta and the uterus are attaching. I can do a more detailed video about subchorionic hematomas and subchorionic hemorrhages if you guys are interested in seeing that. Let me know in the comments below. But that's basically what it is. It's just like a little bit of like blood that is in there. So I was told that I should expect having some bleeding. And the bleeding could be anywhere from just like a little bit of light spotting to very heavy bleeding with clots, which of course already put me on edge. I was already feeling so much anxiety just about being pregnant in general after having a miscarriage. And then being told to expect a bleed, which the last time that I bled was when I was miscarrying, so that gave me so much more anxiety as well. Having a subchorionic hematoma also puts you at a higher risk for miscarriage, so that also was really scary. And there's no way to determine when you're gonna have a bleed. So she said usually it would be within the first trimester. So every day that passed and every week that passed was just so nerve-wracking for me because of that, because I wasn't sure if I was gonna start bleeding and if that meant that I was miscarrying or that it was just a hematoma, or it was terrifying for me to have that. And it was really how would I say that? It made my first trimester like really scary for me. I was relieved to see a heartbeat, but I was really scared that I would lose my baby again. So that was unfortunately. Thankfully, I have not had any bleeding, and as I've done more research and I've talked to my midwife a little bit more, a lot of these subchorionic hematomas, in fact most of them, resolve on their own, which means your body just absorbs that blood, and it's kind of like a scab. It just like heals itself. And so thankfully that's what we think happened with mine, because I didn't have any bleeding. So that is one thing I'm just so grateful for, that I didn't have to experience that. But even just them saying I had one was very scary. Now, because I was diagnosed with this subchorionic hematoma, I was put on pelvic rest, which basically meant no heavy lifting, no sex, no orgasming, basically nothing that is going to contract my uterus in any way. That was a little bit hard, but anything that I could do to make sure that my baby, I don't know why I said babies, there's only one in there. Anything that I can make sure that my baby stayed safe, I'm more than willing and able to do. So now I have not gone back yet for another ultrasound, so I don't know for sure if my body did absorb the hematoma or if it's still just hanging around there. But because I am past the first trimester and I didn't have any bleeding, my midwife is pretty sure that my body just absorbed it and then it just resolved on its own. So that's really cool. On all following appointments after my ultrasound, baby's heartbeat sounded great, although I am curious to know if my placenta is sitting on the front of my stomach, because it's been kind of time consuming and a little bit hard to find baby's heartbeat, which has also been, not great for my anxiety. But when they have tried to find baby on a Doppler, it's been kind of complicated to find baby's heart. They have found it eventually, and I've listened to it at every appointment since that. But I don't know, maybe it's the placenta that's sitting on top that's making it kind of hard to listen to. I don't know. We'll find out during that next ultrasound. For now, I think that is all that I had to share with you guys about the first trimester. If you are in the first trimester as well, I would love to hear all about what symptoms you are having. So let me know in the comments down below. We can chat all about how amazing but also incredibly hard it is to be pregnant. Before I give you guys my whole spiel about liking, subscribing, and commenting and all of the fun stuff at the end, I wanted to make sure that I showed you my belly. I have not shown my belly on social media or YouTube before, so this is the world premiere of baby number 3. I am currently 21 weeks pregnant when I am showing you this beautiful belly. And yes, I know I look big, but a lot of that is also just, all that extra bread that I baked during quarantine. If you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps my channel and this video out a lot. And don't forget to subscribe before you leave, and we will see you on the next video. Bye.